Hi, I'm Madison Mary and welcome back to my channel. This vlog is either gonna go awesome or it's gonna be a complete and utter failure, but it is the Mafia Romance Readathon. Hey, so a little bit of an informal, beginning to a vlog than I normally do just because my life's a lot going on lately. If you saw my June TBR, you're fully aware, but I'm really excited to be participating in the Mafia Romance Readathon this weekend from June 4th to June 6th because I've been wanting to try out dark Mafia romances for quite some time now. And I've been looking for an excuse, and this is the perfect excuse to do it in. So it's hosted by Jenn at the Book Refuge. There are a bunch of different prompts for this readathon. So I'm currently in the process of trying to figure out what I want to read for them because I've never really dabbled in Mafia romance, so I have no idea what to expect or what I want to read for it. But I do know that the first book I am reading, because it feels like a lot of the different prompts, is a book called ɪᴛᴜ. It is by, I think, Sophie Lark, if I'm correct. So apparently a girl tries to come into ɪᴛᴜ's room to poison him, but she failed, and now she's his prisoner. That's what I know. Ooh, and it contains spanking. Very interesting. So I'm really excited to try it out and see if this does end up being a genre that I like. I've tried a couple dark romances before and it's very 50-50 on whether or not I like them. I have different tolerances for dark romances and it mostly just comes down to actually just the sex scenes in them rather than the actual brutality. So we'll see. I'm intrigued and yeah, wish me luck. Hey, so it's the first day of the Mafia Romance Readathon. It's 12 o'clock. I had to finish a different vlog up this morning, but I am now 35% into ɪᴛᴜ by Sophie Lark. It is set in Russia, actually in St. Petersburg, which is kind of cool. I wasn't expecting that initially when I knew it was a Bratva, Russian mob mafia book. I didn't know it was going to be set actually in Russia, which is really cool. So I'm definitely digging that. So we're following ɪᴛᴜ and ɪᴛᴜ, but ɪᴛᴜ is American, but she's a assassin hit woman and has been trained from her dad since birth, and she's really kick-ass. It starts off with her on a job killing someone, and so it's going from the beginning. And then the next chapter is ɪᴛᴜ's POV and he kills someone and you're it's just action-packed from the beginning, which is what I was hoping for when I came into these mafia romances, was I actually wanted them to be mafia. Yeah, so ɪᴛᴜ, she ends up getting this assignment to take down this mafia boss, this Bratva boss, and she's initially I don't know if I want to take this job, but then her broker's well, it's $500,000, and she's ooh, that's a lot of money, and so she agrees to do it, but obviously she does get caught trying to kill him. But ɪᴛᴜ's very impressed by this, so he ends up just capturing her, and now she's in his basement of his he lives in a monastery first off. He's turned into his own compound, but it was a monastery, which I thought was kind of funny. But she's in his basement and his captive now, and they're just hilarious with one another because he actually respects her. He's you know what? No one's ever gotten this close to killing me before, let alone a woman. And he also is I do have a moral code, I don't kill women either. And so that's hilarious. And then she's just always has this quippy banter to get back at him with, and she's very strong, and I love her so much. I'm hoping that it stays action-packed even though she was just captured by him, and that the pacing still keeps going. Especially because at the moment ɪᴛᴜ is in a bit of a clan war with a different Russian mob boss, so we'll see how it keeps on going. I'm very excited. I have a few inklings of where this is going to go and how things might progress, but definitely enjoying it. And this is a great start to the Mafia Romance Readathon. It's a great start to an intro into Mafia. So we'll see how it keeps on going and I'll update you later. So I'm 80% into the book right now, and I just wanted to let you know that, oh my god, their romance is so sweet. Yes, it's dark, but when the two of them are together, they're just so cute and the banter is hilarious and they're just falling for one another so hard, and I love it. Okay, I'm gonna go back into it because shit's going down, but yes. Hey, okay, so I just finished ɪᴛᴜ by Sophie Lark. I really loved it. Way more on the sweeter side, way more on the tamer side than I was expecting. Things happen, dark shit happens, and people get killed and tortured and things like that, and there's, with the whole captor thing with ɪᴛᴜ and ɪᴛᴜ, sure, there's some sexy captive stuff, and there's a whip and things like that involved, because I know I told you guys last night, the whole spanking thing was mentioned, and that does happen, and the sex that does happen is quite hot and steamy, and just oh, I loved it. Of course, it is quite very quick how fast they fall for each other, the instant attraction, but That's what I wanted out of this. I got exactly what I needed. It was a really fun introduction to Mafia. I then, when I read it, that took my bingo board for Bratva, new to you author, kept a captive, and a title that is the hero's name. And I also want to mention that all the characters were like in their 30s. So that was something I didn't say before, but I really liked that. So I wasn't sure like if they were going to be characters like in their 20s or things like that, but no, they were like 31 or 38. I know that's a big difference, okay? But I can't remember exactly what her age was because we found out her age. I don't know what anyone else's ages were. Except for this one young kid, he was 19, but he didn't last very long, so I don't know. But yeah, it was awesome, and I loved like all the gunfighting and like people were actually brutal in it, and like there was a lot of fighting going on in like high stakes situations, so everyone acted accordingly, and I love that. And I'm excited to continue on, so I'm going to start Bound by Honor, and I'll do the same kind of thing where I update you at like 30 to 40%, and then I'll update you again when I'm done. Okay, you can't tell, but like literally the weather just took a total turn for the worst. And if that doesn't fit Mafia Romance, stay in and read, I don't know what does. Wait, did you see that lightning? It's thundering and lightning. I wonder if I can catch any of it. Good morning! So I was going to update you last night because I read 30% of the book, but then I got busy and now we're the next morning. So it's day 2 of the Mafia Romance Readathon, and I am now 40% into Bound by Honor. It's really interesting. Initially I was like not sure how I felt about it because it starts off with her when she is 15 years old and she's just been like engaged, like forced the arranged marriage engagement to a guy who's like 4 or 5 years older than her. So he's like 19, I think, at the time. And so what this is we're following Aria, and then the guy's name is Luca. And Luca is the heir to the New York Italian mafia. And Aria is the eldest daughter of the boss of the Chicago Italian mafia. And because like the Russians and the Taiwanese, their mobs are like now trying to make a move for everyone else, that the Italian mafia is like, okay, we need to combine our forces. We need to put aside all of our differences so that we can instead focus on these other clans that are trying to come in and like take over. And so that's where the arranged marriage came in between Aria and Luca. But Luca has like one hell of a reputation. Like he killed someone when he was 11 years old and like was initiated into the mafia at like a really young age. And so she's super terrified of him, and we follow for like a chapter each of like her throughout the years, like leading up to her turning 18 and like having to get married. And then we have like their wedding night, which we just had, so that's like 40% in. It's actually quite slow going now that I think about it. Like there hasn't really been much between them, but he's definitely going to be one of those heroes, Luca is, that is very protective over his, I mean, he already is super protective and like alpha over her. And the whole part of the Sicilian mafia, like in New York, the New York familia, is the fact that like when it's your wedding night, there's a showing of the sheets, which is like to show that like the girl was a virgin and she bled on them, and he like didn't want to force her, and so they like came up with like a secret pact that he like ended up just cutting himself and like putting the blood on the bed instead. But he diluted the blood, which I thought was really smart, because like he was like, not all blood is the same, and I was like, that's a good point, that's a good point. Because like, you know, yeah, anyway. So like he definitely has like this soft spot for her, and like he's already having like these slight weaknesses towards like who she is, and I'm really excited to see how they like fall for one another, because she's like, he's a monster, but I wonder if I can, you know, get him to rein the monster in when I'm around. Like I wonder if there's any chance that I could ever make him fall in love with me. And so I'm really liking it. It's definitely a much different vibe to the other ones, because like while Aria does have like a backbone and she has been in this world for a long time and she understands it, she is still also very like terrified of everything that goes on in this world, and the whole fact that like she's about to be like ripped away from her family in Chicago and like move to New York where she knows no one. And so that's where I'm at the moment, and it's good. She has really great writing, like it's really interesting. The difference is, so Ivan, you got both POVs of the guy and the girl, but in this one you only have Aria's POV. And I kind of wished that we got Luca's POV. I think that would have been really interesting and kind of cool. It's still fine anyway. I'm excited to see where it keeps on going. I really love Aria's younger sister, Gianna. She is a Hellcat to the max. Like I really hope that she gets her own book. I don't know which one it would be, but I love her. And then I also love Luca's younger brother, Matteo. Like he's also really great. So there's some really awesome like characters in this, but it's a very brutal world. And while Ivan was brutal, this one is like a lot worse because it's so connected, and just like the way that everything is talking, like you definitely are more ingrained in this sort of like mafia community compared to like the one in like the Russian Bratva one. So it's been cool. I will admit that, like, I don't know, I'm Italian, so I kind of expected there to be more Italian stuff in a book that was an Italian mafia, but we'll see how it keeps on going. I'm excited, and yeah, that's it. Okay, so I have finished Bound by Honor by Cora Reilly. I did enjoy it. I think it's a great introduction into like what this mafia series is going to be about. And it was like a nice introduction to just mafia in general, because a lot of the terms are explained to you in this book. Like there are some things that were like mentioned in previous, like in ɪvân, that I was like, I have no idea what any of this stuff means. And like now I'm like slowly kind of understanding like the different terms and what the different groups are called and things like that. So it's a good introduction, I would say, especially because it's like the arranged marriage, virgin kind of trope going on with this one. And it was good. It was very slow burn. I'm giving it a 3.5 stars because I didn't like it as much as ɪvân, but I'm always a sucker for the whole idea of the hero is like really awful and like a killer and like a bad man, but then like when he's with her, like he does like be gentle, and like his love for her is like a totally different thing, and like I'm always a huge fan of that. I'm gonna start The Predator next by RuNyx. This is another Italian New York one, and I believe like it's to do with like two rival clans as well, but I don't actually know anything more than that. I have a lot of friends who swear by this book, like it's their favorite. So I'm super excited to read this one. And this one, oh, I didn't mention before, but in Bound by Honor, Luca has a tattoo. So he counts as a tattooed hero, and I was like, yes, because I didn't know that initially. So that's another bingo board done. I haven't actually gone through my bingo board to see what I've done yet, but I bet I did get a bingo now. Anyway, I have a package here from Hello Lovely Box. This is their surprise box. And so I'm excited to see what the surprise was for this month. If you want to know where I am a rep for Hello Lovely Box, I adore them. I was buying from them even before I was a rep, and they just have really cute bookish merch. And so let's see what this month's surprise. What was the theme? I feel like it was bad boys. So they kind of like fit with this theme. So we got a t-shirt, and ooh. We also have a lip balm. So this is the lip balm, and it says Bad Love. Let's see what it smells like. It's it smells like Fireball whiskey. I really don't know how I feel about that. That brings back memories of tailgating. It's my best friend. She loves Fireball. So it's always like her shot of choice. So like it's nostalgic, but it's not like my favorite scent in the world. That's too funny. And then oh my god, no! Alright, well, okay. So you get 2 free ebooks with like the surprise box each month, and one of them is Dope Boys, Anything for the Throne by Aubrey Pinn, which is, I don't know what this one's about. But, Savage Mafia Prince by Annika Martin, and it is the Mafia Romance Readathon. What are the odds? What? So it's about a reporter who's undercover at the Fanshawe Institute for the Mentally Ill and Dangerous, and there's patient 34 who's startlingly young and gorgeous but is strapped way too tightly to that bed. There's no name or criminal history in his chart. What are these people hiding? I'm guessing he's obviously like in the whoa, okay, maybe I'll download this and do this as one of the books. I'll have to have a look and see how long it is, because that is too funny. And then we have a t-shirt, which I'm so excited about. I love that t-shirt so much. And it says, Good Reads, Bad Guys, Wild Love. There's like a little close-up for you. Oh, and I love this color. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I look good in army green. I'm a brunette, so of course I do. Oh my god, I love it. If it wasn't like 31 degrees Celsius outside right now, I'd put this on, but like it's boiling as like a potato, so that's not happening. But I'm so glad to get another top from them. I'm so obsessed. Okay, Like I said, my code is Princess15 if you are at all interested in them. They do surprise boxes every month, and then they do like merch drops every month and like special edition boxes and things like that. So definitely do check them out. I'm gonna go back to reading The Predator for a little bit, and then I'm gonna go have some dinner. Hey, okay, so it's kind of late, but I'm 54% into the book. It's been really interesting. It's a very different vibe, and there's one thing I am kind of realizing with this book and the last one is that like the daughters of these mafia families, they are like abused to an extent by their fathers. I mean, in the last book it was more like control and verbal abuse. This one, her dad should be killed, basically, is what I'm getting at. So this is another Italian mafia one, and there are two different mafia groups. There is the Shadow Port, and then there's the Tenebrae or something like that. Tenebra or something. And we're following Morana, and she is from the Shadow Port. She's the only daughter of the boss of the Shadow Port, and she's super smart, has like a really high IQ, and she was dabbling around with her ex-boyfriend making codes and stuff, and she ended up making this like really dangerous like super buggy code that could destroy a lot of different things, and then her ex-boyfriend stole it and then gave it over to the enemy mafia group. And so when this starts off, it's her having infiltrated into the other mafia group's house, and she's trying to kill the guy that supposedly has her codes and like steal them back from him. But this guy is Tristan, and he is known as the Predator, and he is the only non-blood member of this group. And like when it comes to mafias, they're always like blood. You don't just get outsiders into it. So the fact that Tristan is in this as an outsider is like a huge thing, and he's actually quite high up in like the system, though no one really knows. Anyway, what ends up happening is that obviously the scuffle of her trying to get it off him doesn't really go very well. And then it turns out that like it wasn't actually them who took it, Tristan and Dante. Dante is like the actual like heir to this group, and they say to her like, we didn't take it, we don't know who took it, you don't know who took it, but this is like super dangerous, and if this does get out, it's going to be an all-out war and it will ruin everything. So we need to find a way to get these codes back and track them down and try and figure out what's going on, because clearly someone was trying to frame Tristan to make it look like it was him who took it and start a war between our two groups. And so she kind of is reluctantly brought into like figuring this out with them, but she has like this whole plan. She's like, I'm going to kill Tristan one day, and he's like, I'm going to kill you one day. And they have it out for each other in that sense, and that's kind of what this is about. And it's just been really interesting. Once again, this is just a single POV. It's Morana's POV only. This one is definitely more focused on Morana and like her plot and her journey in this, and just like how awfully she has been treated her entire life, and the fact that she is so smart and so amazing, but like no one can see that for her. And just like the way that Tristan is like this complete and utter like brute and like cold-hearted killer assassin, like murder stabby dude, but like still kind of does these like nice things for her even when he's like being a complete and utter dick to her. And then like just at the 50% mark, there's some really brutal things that like go down in this, like full on like physical abuse, like really bad. And like I was actually like tearing up and like had like a single tear like come down and like fall down my face. Like it was really hard to read because she's extremely alone in this world. She has no freedom at all, and it's really difficult to read. The romance is like, it's fine. Like for me, it's like it's more of like a subplot to this whole thing, which is so strange. Like that's not what I was expecting going into this. Okay, I'm gonna continue reading. I'll catch you guys up in the morning because I'm gonna like get ready for bed and like just like lie down on my side while I read my Kindle instead right now. Okay. Bye-bye. Hey, okay, so I have finished The Predator by RuNyx, and I enjoyed it. It was good. This is actually a series where each book in the series is actually following the same couple. This is like just the beginning of their story, and it was a good introduction to it, but I'm not like that invested in it. I would say this is actually a 3 out of 5 stars, even though there was like that really great emotional scene at the 50% mark. It just didn't do it for me. I wasn't into the romance in this one compared to the other two. I didn't get it. I didn't get it. I didn't get their romance. So it kind of fell short because of that. I did like our characters. I really thought that Morana was a really strong heroine to follow in this book, and I really enjoyed her story. It's cool. It's a cool one. I think that there are definitely going to be people out there who fall head over heels with this book, as I have seen. Like, I have a lot of friends who 5-star this book and think it's like one of the best mafias in the entire world. So if this is one that does sound interesting to you, definitely do pick it up, because I think that there's a lot of potential for other people to love it more than I did, but it just wasn't what I was looking for. So I've been just debating what I want to pick up next, because I need to hit a book that starts with brutal or ruthless. I was gonna do Ruthless Creatures by J.T. ɪḻsᴛᴜ, or ɪḻsᴛ, whatever the heck their last name is. But I'm not sure like what kind of mafia it is. And I know that Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark is an Irish mob one, and I haven't read an Irish one yet. So I'm going back and forth between the two of those. So I'm gonna probably make my decision and start one of them, and then I'll let you know. Okay, so I am 50% into Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark. I'm so confused. Not by the book, but like comparing ɪḍᴛ to Brutal Prince, totally different. And maybe it's because Ida, she's 20, and Callum, he's 30, so this is an age gap between 10 years, but like the age gap is not like an important part of this. It's actually barely mentioned, except for in the beginning. It's a little weird though, because like she's the same age as like his younger sister, but regardless, they both act extremely immature, and like Ida is 20, she is the youngest daughter of the Italian mafia in Chicago, so like that's fine. Like she acts like a tomboy wild child mafia princess. The way that her dad runs the Italian mafia in Chicago is they're like a construction based mafia, like that's where they get a lot of their like legal money from, and she has like these really awesome, like really brutal kick-ass older brothers, and she has no mom, so she was kind of raised as like a young son. They decide to crash the party of the Griffins, who are the Irish mob in Chicago, and they're like the top of the top, like have all the money, very pristine, very prestigious. And they crash the party, and she accidentally, she does it on purpose. She gets in like a sticky situation and needs to get out of it because she's hiding. And so she tries to set fire to like this tassel to like create distraction, but it ends up making the entire curtain go up in flames, and she's like, oh shit. And so she ends up like piecing out, and then a whole debacle ends up happening, and the two families, the Irish and the Italians, end up forming an alliance by arranging Ida to marry Callum. And Callum is the only son and the eldest child of the Griffin Irish mob. And he's actually running for alderman, which I didn't actually know what an alderman was. I'd heard the term before, but it's kind of like the position below mayor. And so Callum is really pissed at this because he has no desire to be with Ida. He thinks that she is just a hellcat, and he thinks that she needs to be controlled. Like that's his really big thing, like in his entire, this is dual POV, which is awesome, but I don't actually like his POV. I wish we just had hers, because his entire POV is the fact that he's like, she needs to be controlled, she needs to be like tied down, like I need to break her into the person like that she has to be, like she's too feisty, I can't like deal with this. And I don't really love that. I don't really like how he's talking about her. It's just, it's not my cup of tea. Like I said, it's an arranged marriage between the two of them. They don't really want to be married to one another. They really hate each other, and they keep like doing things to aggravate one another. I will admit, she does do something on their wedding day that I thought was utterly hilarious. And I sat there for a solid minute just like laughing my ass off, because I was like, oh my god, she did not just do that. Like that was priceless. I'm kind of like sad that we're not seeing more of her Italian family. I will say, out of all the 3 books with Italian mafia families in it, this one is like the most Italian-esque in it. Like they actually use Italian words and like things like that, and like that I can relate to. Like the way that their Italian family is the most like normal to how my Italian family is, and so that is a huge plus in my opinion. I'm excited to see how it keeps on going, and I'll let you know. Bye. It's the end of the readathon, and I finished A Brutal Prince with 1 hour left. Like, I'm quite proud of myself. Leave a knife emoji if you stayed till the end. Okay, so like I said, I did finish Brutal Prince. I definitely enjoyed the second half a lot more to the first half. I just think that our characters actually matured a lot as it went on. Like they were so focused in the first half on like
being annoying to one another and like making the worst out of each other's lives, that like once they kind of begun to get over that, I actually liked the development and I liked their characters, especially Ada. Like, is it Ida or Ada? I think it's Ida. But I especially loved her in the back half of this because she's just really kick-ass and really badass and like takes charge of everything that goes on, and she's like actually really fun. So she really did grow on me. Like a lot of the characters grew on me as the book went on, so that was nice. And it is definitely like very much action-packed, and I really love everyone that we've been introduced to so far, so I'm really excited to see how this keeps on going. So I think I would rate it higher than the Predator. So I'm just trying to think of how I would want to put this. I do also want to say that like while I did really enjoy the Brutal Prince, the one thing I didn't like about it was like the sex scenes were still just too crude for me. I'm just not, I don't know, I've gotten more and more picky about how they're written, and I just don't like when they're crudely written. Not my cup of tea. Like it's fine every once in a while, but like it does hinder my rating of books if the sex scenes aren't done to my like taste, which is no like fault on the author's part, like everyone's different. So my final ranking is going to be Ivan. I'm actually going to give 5 stars to. I'm bumping that way up. I've just decided that I really did love it and I keep thinking about it. And then I am giving 4 stars to Bound by Honor, shocker, 3.5 to Brutal Prince, and then 3 to the Predator. And I'm sticking by that. I feel pretty confident about it. And that's it for this video. Hope you guys did enjoy this vlog. If you did, please click that button down below. If you want to see more of me, please go to my channel. And until next time, thanks a bunch everyone. Bye bye.